All right, Skip, thank you so much. Thank you all. I appreciate the time. Thank you for inviting me up here. A second while I'm organized. Did everyone receive a card?
Yes.
No.
The cards are some passed around. I've got some more if you don't have it.
Down there, yeah.
A little bit about me, but let's see if I can't walk that far with this, but with the microphone, they've got me. Skip's got me tied down. I can't go too far here. Sorry about that.
These are extra.
I need the
I think you're right. I can use that myself. So Tom, thank you. And there, I do have more up here if you'd like. Again, my name is Mark Entrekin, and I appreciate the time to come and your time to come up here and talk a little bit. Tell you about myself, my company, and what we all love most: communication. As Skip mentioned, we have so many ways to communicate now. And he talked about it, and I've got my phone up here recording everything I say and do, just in case the attorneys call. But it's to help me in communication. What better way to learn what you're communicating and how you're communicating except to record? To be able to go back and view what we've said, what we've done, or what we do. As you mentioned, how many of you do? Is there anyone in here that does not have a cell phone of some type? Awesome, I'm impressed. That's great. I wished I didn't. Do they seem like they've kind of taken over for some of us, our lives? I mean, mine communicates here. I have, what do they call, a tablet in my briefcase. I have a laptop at my house. Where do we go that it's not computerized? I can walk into some coffee shops and my phone already tells them I'm there.
Knows what you want.
That's right. I'm not sure sometimes where I am, and my phone knows. It's amazing what technology has brought us. But I think communication is so key. And I sometimes say communication is key. C-I-K. Okay, now I'm going to see if I can do this.
It's very snug, but it'll fit.
Okay, thank you. Communication is key. C-I-K, kick. How do we put the kick back in our lives? What are we doing as a Kiwanian? What are we wanting to do? Why are you here this morning? I hope it's to communicate what you do so well for our children, for the kids. I knew about Kiwanians. I was a Rotary once, Rotarian. I know, I shouldn't say that. Is that a 4-letter word? I'm sorry.
He told me already. I told him he could still come. So.
Well, he told me I could not talk politics, but he did say I couldn't use 4-letter words like that.
I got several good friends that are Rotarians.
Thank you very much. That goes into I do have a political speech. I'm not going to do it this morning, so don't get uptight, but I do have a political speech, and I talk about words and names and how we judge each other. We'll talk about that a little bit in our communication. But let me start with talking a little bit more about myself, because I do belong to a couple of good organizations. Okay. Number one, Toastmasters. Do we have any Toastmasters here? Anyone else a Toastmaster?
Yep.
All right, former? Excellent. I am the division director for Toastmasters International, Foothills Division. I don't go this far north, but I do go down to Durango, over to Grand Junction, some in Broomfield, Lakewood. And a lot of what we're doing in Toastmasters is also a little bit about what you do as Kiwanians. Now, you work on the younger kids. We work on us older kids. Okay? I saw a Bronco jersey here somewhere. Okay, there's one, all right. You know who Peyton Manning is then, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, did you know that he's my twin brother of a different mother? Really?
Think about that.
He's 39 years old, right? Right? I just turned 39 again on my last birthday. He's from Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi. What more do you need? His birthday, March 24th. When's my birthday? March 24th. Exactly. Him and I are not that close, though. Some brothers are really close. Him and I don't think he even remembers me, but we were young, of course. But what are we doing in our lives moving forward to grow? Now, again, Peyton was young. I didn't remember much of him when he was young. I didn't recognize him until he got to college in Mississippi or Tennessee. But ourselves, as we're growing older, what did we have? What do we have to grow with? Again, I have Toastmasters to continue growing. But as a child, what did I have? What did I grow? What did I build with? Yes, I am from southern Mississippi. I did spend my first 7 years down there. My mother took me out to southeastern New Mexico to grow because of some of the language and educational benefits of being out west, other than the small town of Carriere, Mississippi. Good town, great people. Anyone been down to Mississippi, southern Mississippi? Been down there? I was in Nolens just a few weeks ago. You know where Nolens is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was there, went down there, saw my family. It hasn't changed much. It truly hasn't changed in the 39 or so years that I've been away. What we need to do for so many of us is to share that communication. Kiwanians do a great job because of the camaraderie that you have here. It's impressive for me to come in here and watch you do what you do for the kids, for the justice, the altruism that you talk about on the website, that we all need to grow and build with. Do we realize sometimes, though, how many people have no idea what justice really is? How many people have never heard of Kiwanian, the Kiwanis Club?
Far too many haven't.
Good point. Skip brings up a great point. How many do not know about Toastmasters?
Quite a few.
Because I see a lot when I go to the websites of similarities between organizations, like the Kiwanis Club, Toastmasters Club. What is our cliche? We build leaders as Toastmasters. As I saw your website, I saw that you grow leaders. The things that you do with those boxes of toys, reaching out to children, communicating to children. For some, from what I'm seeing, you help those that are undernourished. Do we think about sometimes how many people do not realize that there are kids within these city limits that are undernourished, that have no one to turn to? The number of people in this wonderful small town that have no idea about the children that you help on a daily basis. Reaching out to those children. Is it because we haven't talked to them enough? They have a television, and as we mentioned earlier, they probably even have a telephone. They have more computer power in their hands today in most of those telephones than I had when I started college just a few years ago. More power right here. A lot of children who haven't even started school can create acronyms to text back and forth, but have no idea who Kiwanis might be, who Toastmasters is. They don't know that there's people like you, great people, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, that want to bring that information to them, that communication to them, and to help them grow to be better people. So then what's the problem with communication? We have some great organizations out there. We have great schools. We have some great teachers, and thank you to the ones I met this morning that have been teachers and retired teachers. What's our problem then with communication? One thing that I ask Is a misunderstanding a choice? How many children in our schools, in the clubs that they may belong to, the ones that you see down the street, have heard many times the right way to do something, the better way to do something? But as the saying goes in one ear and out the other. So are we choosing to misunderstand? How many times do we, and I look at myself, how many times do I say, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? I'm sorry. Is that something that I can help with? How many times do I work on understanding what someone's telling to me? On that card that you have in front of you, I hope all of you can now have one, on the back, they ask a few questions. And it's questions that I want to know about myself, about being here, about talking with you. And yes, the best way is to email me on the address on the other side. Strange how that's the way to communicate, but it is. But I have left some room on that paper, on that card, if you want to write it. But I would like to hear back from you in communication. What did I say today? Did I reach you today? Is there something that I didn't touch or I don't touch? And I want to know about that. But I want to be there for you. And why do I say that? How many of us are in a hurry a lot of times? Rushing, going from event to event, got boxes to deliver, I've got toys to build, I've got kids at home, I've got children, I've got grandchildren. So much to do. But do we have time to say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can I hear that again? How many times do we're talking to people though and they say, what? And sometimes we just have to pause and wait for them to catch up with the conversation. I know there was some jokes this morning about Halloween and how we sometimes, as we are all turning 39 years old, that our hearing is a little bit dwindling, let's say, from what it used to be. I always joke and say, I'm sorry, I'm deaf in the left ear and I can't hear out the right. Sometimes it's just difficult. But how many times do we let that pull us down, hold us down? Is there any reason for anyone to say anything to us and us not be clear about it? Again, I'm not going to go into politics, but how many times would you like to hear some of these people that are on the television in these debates say, what did you mean by that? We go turn to Fox News, of course, or CBS or NBC and get their point of view. But how many times would you like to say to someone, I would like to sit down with you and talk to you about that issue? You mentioned that bridge. As soon as that bridge information came up, I'm thinking, who can I talk to come up with the money? $600,000 is a lot of money. $500,000 more. But what would it take to bridge that gap? To create that communication? Who can we turn to? And I love doing that. Reaching out to that next person. Talk to them about what they need, what they want, so we can work with them to build that bridge. What do we do when we're talking to someone and they talk and they talk? And I hope I don't do this, but we've kind of shut them out. And we just kind of say, Are we just pacifying them? Or do we agree with them? Have they made a point that we can take to that next level? As we teach our children, as we help them grow to become better leaders, are we helping them to learn, to listen? One of the greatest things about communication is the ability to listen. We talk to our children all the time. And again, as I mentioned, in one ear, out the other. I've got 2 children. One's here with me right now. He's going to be working up the mountains this winter as a snowboard instructor. And he's staying with me until we have enough snow for him to go. And I try to work with him on everything that I can. And I was talking to my girlfriend this morning. I said, I do want to talk to my son this afternoon about where he's setting his priorities. I want to sit with him and chat. Because he's doing some things right now based on his job in Vail and maybe Keystone. He's working between the two. And find out how he's gathering information to make those decisions. And I'm guessing that's what Kiwanis do, working with the children that you work with. You bring the toys, you open up their minds, their eyes, their hearts. And then we talk with them so that they know how to make those better decisions. Am I right? Mm-hmm. We need to make sure that they understand. And I'm hoping today that I can come in here and talk with you, and you have my card. I'd like to hear from you again. You talk with the children month after month, year after year, as you help them grow, as you work with them in their growth. They can come to you, right? They can come here and say, let me help, let me work, let me talk to the Kiwanis Club. Let me help them grow in those processes. Let me help them do what they can do. Because I know we hear a lot of children anymore just, and they're doing something else. They have their phone in their hand, they're texting someone. We hear every day on the news about people who are texting or talking on the telephone as they drive. More and more dangerous every day. And I know that I'm guilty of it sometimes. I have mine on a stand and I try to keep it over where I'm, other than Google Maps, that I'm not using it any more than I have to. What do we do as far as our children grow about learning and teaching them how to communicate better? And I think listening. And again, I don't mean to be repetitive, but I know I'm being that way with the benefit that Kiwanis Club brings to the children. Listening, bringing them the toys, bringing them that ideas, and taking that leadership to the next level. I think it's awesome. But as we talk to each and every one of us, and again, I work with people from India. In some of my contracting, I'm a management consultant. And listening to them talk, they have a different accent, even than I do, being from southern Mississippi, a little on the southern side. People catch me a lot when I'm, if you don't mind, I get down there and I talk to them a little while, and I talk to my brother and my sister, and my voice gets a little bit hard to understand. But that's what we need to say is, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. And I don't mind you saying that to me. Sometimes I talk fast. I get excited like our kids do. They're not paying attention. They've got 10,000 things on their mind and what they're doing. We want to slow them down. And we want to say, I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Listen to our children. Listen to each other. But listen to the people that we're trying to help grow. Some of you have been to Toastmasters meetings. You heard about the evaluator? Every speaker has an evaluator. Probably like you do here, is talking back and forth. But the evaluator evaluates the person speaking and gives feedback on what they say. I think it's one of the best parts of a Toastmasters meeting is when I speak, I receive feedback. Now, one of the things that I speak on, and I would love to talk to you about this one day too, is evaluate to motivate. Because as we evaluate people, we want to talk about the things that they do right. We want to give positive criticism, of course, but we want to focus on what they're doing right, how they're growing, how they're building, and what do our children need most. that support. I haven't been to an elementary school in quite a while. Okay, it wasn't that long ago, of course. But do you hear all the negativity that goes on today? The bullying, the comments, the things that come across the news about what one person texts to another. I'm amazed at what they say to each other. It's not communication. It's a degradation of character. It's degrading one another. Why would they do that? Why do any of us do that? But for our children, are they think it's building themselves up by pulling someone else down? Is that positive for any of us? I don't think so. How do we help the children in that nature? As Kiwanians, as Toastmasters, we want to help them understand and learn that that part of communication is not bringing about the result that I believe they're looking for. I mentioned before, I'll say, I'm sorry I didn't understand you. I'm sorry, could you say that again for me, please? When I say I'm sorry, I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but I want them to know that I care. It's important to me that I understand what they're talking about, what they're communicating. I know there's times that each of us have our mind on family, on friends, on Kiwanis, what boxes I've got to deliver today, how many more I've got to go. Is John going to help? Is Jane going to help? I've got so much on my mind. But it only takes a second to listen. It truly does. It only takes a second. I don't want to pacify anyone by listening and not paying attention. I want to listen to you because I value you. And I think that's where our children are losing some of their strength. For me, I'm impressed. Now you heard, well, I hope you didn't hear me because I sing low. Carrying a tune's kind of tough for me. I'm working on it, I'm not giving up. But I love what you sing. I love that you still say the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you know how many organizations left anymore that do not do that? It's astounding. It's absolutely astounding. All the Toastmasters that I've